Yang dapat tahu anjong kejala mekhlea, mantakasi ka arpu atarik ulber arajar arpu lai, kalaplut bor hadu palat shikenta, banyatai halor ka MOU ke balia soy pelen ka sorkan mekhlea bar ka Assam, nakamta ka jengge pendipur akabenta ka baningkong. Pada ka joko podu banyatai halor ka MOU ka bakanya san hakabenta ka baar. Kini ka jia tai kalong hadi melawan ra, ya kamat jia tai da UMLA jong kamahoti uba Charles Mangar, ubulon ra banyatai lembaga special motion, hapa yin darbar. Ba Charles Mangar haba wan ra ya kani ka motion ulapan pau ka jing sokhya, baya ka MOU la san kerki khlem da kanjok tin ru yagi pat gi badan batalang hakani ka jia san khamtam yagi trai snong bat ki nonglam snong ki badan ha ki thain khaput haba ken ki jaka kila sakta.
Meghalaya and Assam and the need of reviewing the MOU signed between the two chief ministers.
I beg to move that this House do now discuss the second phase of interstate boundary settlement between Meghalaya and Assam and the need of reviewing the MOU signed between the two chief ministers.
Motion now moved. You may initiate the discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Thank you so much for allowing me to discuss about the second phase of interstate boundary settlement between Meghalaya and Assam and the need of reviewing of the MOU signed between the Chief Minister of Meghalaya and the Chief Minister of Assam. Mr. Speaker, sir, when we talk about the interstate boundary settlement between Meghalaya and Assam, yes, it is a long pending issue that the past government of Meghalaya had tried the level best to solve the issue. It may be noted that the state government, in its letter number POL 78/2010/209, dated Shillong, the 8th August 2011, had claimed that over 2,765.14 square kilometer, approximately, of the land belonged to our state. As per the explanation given by the state government on the 8th August 2011, the border disputes between Meghalaya and Assam had taken place in the 12th sector as follows. Tarabari 4.69 square kilometer, Jizang 13.53 square kilometer, Hahim 3.51 square kilometer, Boklapura 1.57 square kilometer, Nongwa Mautamur 137.51 square kilometer, Khanapara Pelingkata 2.29 square kilometer, Desh Domaria 484.72 kilometers, Khanduli and Psiar 12.80 plus 64 square kilometers, Block 1 and Block 2 537.54 plus 1,009.88 square kilometer, and Ratachera 11.20 square kilometer. As per explanation of the state government made in the year 2011, the total area of 12 disputed sectors is 2,765 square kilometer. It is, however, undeniable that more areas are being encroached. It may be mentioned that the Honorable Chief Minister of Meghalaya and the Chief Minister of Assam met on the 23rd July 2021 in Shillong, and on the 6th August 2021 in Dispur in the state of Assam. The outcome of these two meetings is that both the states signed a historic agreement for closure in 6 dispute sectors that were taken up for resolution in the first phase. That is, number 1, Tarabari, number 2, Zizang sector, number 3, Hahim sector, number 4, Boklapara sector, number 5, Khanapara Pilangkata sector, and number 6, Ratachera sector. Both the state had constituted the regional committees in the 3 districts. That is, Ribhoi Regional Committee, West Khasi Hills Regional Committee, and East Janta Hills Regional Committee. After constituted, the 3 regional committees had visited the villages that falls under the 6 areas of difference to hear the voice of the residents and to verify the name of the villages, and also to verify the principal criteria for approaching the issue, which include number 1, historical facts, number 2, ethnicity, number 3, administrative convenience, number 4, willingness of the people, and number 5, geographical continuity. After several meetings held by the regional committees, reports were made and sent to the respective states' governments. Even though I'm not a member of the regional committee, but it is disheartening to say that the government did not fully consider the resolution made by the regional committees. For example, the Ribhoi Regional Committee had submitted the report and suggest that all villages in Khanapara, Pilangkata sector and Boklapara sector falls in Meghalaya. But sir, unfortunately, MOU signed by the 2 chief ministers clearly indicated that the resolution made by the regional committees has not been fully considered, as many areas of the Khanapara, Pilangkata sector of the Himamalim, like the ASTC camp at Hemmarwet Khanapara, Dreamland Resort at Khanapara, fields of Yongkuli, Maikuli, and Pilangkata, right Marwet. Plot of land at Barapathar, Fish Pond, Momari Bills at Maikuli, now falls under Assam as per MOU signed. Furthermore, it is clearly noted that the MOU has many negative impacts. It may be mentioned that the Meghalaya government in the year 2011 had claimed over 2.29 square kilometers within Khanapara Pilangkata sector. But now it is left only with 0.55 square kilometers. Therefore, we lost about 1.74 square kilometers just because of the MOU. In Boklapara sector, the Hima Jirang and the Hima Nongspong had lost about 1.01 square kilometers, which included Jimrigaon and the Lungkhong village. Such similar cases was seen in the West Khasi Hills district, whereby many villages that falls under the Khasi Shimship, which were previously not included in the explanation made by the government in 2011. But presently, these were included in Assam. To name a few such villages alike, the Namtarabari, Watre Rongchong, Borsum, Gorajan, Damrang, Malang, Jodhpur, Huhuapara, Malchapara, Salbari, the backdrop, and Malang Siminaguri of the Himanonglang citizenship, and also the Leja Dubi village in Jerngam citizenship. When taken into consideration regarding the East Jante Hills district, the Meghalaya government in the year 2011 had claimed over 11.20 square kilometers. But now, it has got only 6.42 square kilometers, meaning that we lost about 4.78 square kilometers in Ratachera sector. Moreover, we had fully lost our ownership of the Malida River. The Meghalaya government had violated the paragraph 20 of the 6th schedule of the Constitution of India, as well as the Assam Reorganization Act 1969 and the Northeast Reorganization Act 1971 in signing the MOU. No prior information, consultation, and permission was sought by the state government from the different Hima Khasi and district council before signing the MOU. This shows that the government do not respect the traditional institutions and the stakeholders. And even more, no consultation was properly made within the House. Another important fact is that the state government did not include any member from the KHDC and JHADC in the regional committee during the first phase. Henceforth, while reviewing the MOU, all these issues need to be rectified at the earliest possible. Therefore, I suggest the government of the day that the same mistake should not be repeated while going ahead with the phase 2, which is highly sensitive. Local MLS and the local MDCs of those areas should be included as the member of the regional committees for the settlement of interstate boundary between Meghalaya and Assam. To conclude, I would like to state that the need of the hour is to shape public opinion for peaceful borders and redouble efforts for a political solution to this old decades disputes. With these few words, Mr. Speaker, sir, I once again thank you for allowing me to move this and to discuss the second phase of interstate boundary settlement between Meghalaya and Assam, and also the need of reviewing the MOU signed between the two chief ministers, that is, the chief minister of Meghalaya and the chief minister of Assam. Thank you. I resume my seat.
Yakni kemotion la kershan do MLA jokanang po ba meral bonds im bol ban pau ko jing sokhya bara ka joko poru ula kentu yo ka sarkar bakan dapat serim ha menyakren ya ka jing bitput na kamta ka benta ka baar.
This special motion brought by Sri Charles Marngam to discuss the second phase of interstate boundary settlement between Meghalaya and Assam and the need of reviewing the MOU signed between the two chief ministers. Sir, the issue of boundary dispute has been a long pending issue that has been lingering around in the state. We cannot forget the legacy of our leaders who has fought tirelessly for attaining our statehood way back in the 60s and the 70s. The slogan during that time is that we want hill state, no rest. We still remember great leaders under the banner of MDA, Non-Violent Direct Action, like late Captain W.S. Sangma, late Sri S.D.D. Nichols Roy, late B.B. Lingdo, Edwinson Barrett, H.S. Lingdo, P.R. Kandia, and so many great leaders who has fought to attain a full-fledged statehood within a state. And it was in the 24th of December 1969 that Assam Reorganization Meghalaya Act 1969, where a provisional legislative assembly was passed. It is like a Christmas gift in that year. And the inauguration for the autonomous state was on the 2nd April 1970. And the full-fledged state was announced on 10 November 1970, and the inauguration for full-fledged statehood on 21st January 1972. That is the turning point, and as I have said in my opening remark, we cannot forget the legacy of these great leaders who has fought for our state. But still, this issue is still there, till now. Consecutive governments have tried their level best. But I want to place on record that it is only this government in MDA 1 that has taken a serious steps to try and resolve this issue. So this issue is not an easy task for any government, but step has been taken. Drastic step has been taken. Regional committee has been formed under the chairmanship of the cabinet minister of different regional committee that we have. But still, claim and counterclaim between the two states, it is there. As per the survey map of 1872, 1929, and the notification of 1878, 1925, that is the stand of the government of Meghalaya. And the government of Assam, it stands as per the Chandrachud Committee. It was with regard to the issue of settle in the first phase, where 6 areas of difference has been discussed. And different regional committee has submitted their recommendation that have been duly considered by the state government. I'm not saying that it has fulfilled 100 out of 100. Statement has been made in the past on the floor of the House, be it the give and take policy, whether we are gaining some, we are losing some. But the principal stand is that we should not lose a single inch. That is a principal stand. But in due course of discussion and deliberation, push and pull, the ups and downs, is always there, where successive government has to follow in due course of time. The dispute within the boundary, which has been discussed in the phase 1, there are plenty of incidents that has happened in the past. not only in the state of Meghalaya, in the state of Mizoram in the year 1994, 2007, and even on 26th of July 2021, even in the state of Nagaland also, many incidents has happened, even in the state of Arunachal also, and even in the state of Meghalaya also. Even myself and different legislators from Ribohoi, we have been witnessed by ourselves the incident that has happened in Yongkuli, which is not in the list of the area of difference. That's why I'm telling you, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, that the push and pull, claim, counter-claim will always be there. But I have seen the seriousness of the government to try and solve, to take everybody on board, the traditional heads, the district council, different villages, and in due course of process, we have seen in the past also incident has happened, be it in Langpi, be it in Ribohoi, be it in Block 2, be it in Block 1, in other part of the area of difference. But keeping in mind that in the process to discuss for the second phase, it is very important that we have to deliberate thoroughly. In the first phase, whatever the government, the regional committee have tried the level best. And we have seen the result. There are discontentment in few sectors, in few sections, but that has to be addressed. And I hope the MOU that has been signed for active consideration for the Home Ministry, if there is any issue that has to be discussed, we'll leave it to the Honorable Chief Minister to consider. With regard to the second phase of talk for the remaining 6 areas of difference, with the long porous border of Assam, especially the sensitive part of Langpi, Block 1, Block 2, this Domria, and other parts, we would like to stress upon or stand is that we have to regain back, especially with special reference to Block 2 area, where the Senjuk, Girangbat Shnong, border area, right Noktung, they have also right to the government also, claiming the stand about the 18 villages plus another 4 villages, which is very much part and parcel of Right Nongtung, Himak Hairim, Ribohoi district. In the letter also they have stated very clearly that 18 villages that has to be included, including the another 4 under Meghalaya, where these villages has to be retransferred to Meghalaya as per that notification number TADR 3150-149 dated 13 April 1951, where they were in the erstwhile Jainta Hills, where they have been transferred to Mikir Hills. Now talk has to be there to retransfer and to do away with this notification so that our people who reside there, they can be included within our state. Keeping in mind different parameters that are there, those 5 parameters, we have to see each and every village, keeping in mind the settlement who are there also. I have the list of these villages of this Block 2 village where we can see the number of population. For example, Madan Umwang, indigenous tribe are 721, and non-indigenous tribe are 1,400. Laper, indigenous tribe are 325, non-indigenous people are 3,020, and so on. Keeping in mind different activities, different issues that are there, in the second phase, by taking everybody on board, the traditional heads, the district council, MLAs, and other stakeholders, civil society, NGO, and we hope that in days to come, in the process to discuss the boundary issue in the second phase, I hope that the manner the government has taken a serious note in the first phase that has been discussed and elaborated in the past 2 years. The seriousness that are there, we hope that under the leadership of Honorable Chief Minister or the Cabinet Minister, concerned legislator, that the second phase of talk will be there by taking everybody on board, and we hope to see that this problem, which has been lingering for so long, it will be solved once and for all. Keeping in mind and sincere request to each and every stakeholder also, civil society, the public at large, to work together, keeping aside political affiliation, keeping aside politics. This is the issue of life and death for the people of our state. Let us keep aside our personal feeling. Let us walk by the brain, not by the heart. And we would like to see in days to come, the House, we will be unanimous, as we have passed the resolution for attaining ILP on the 19th of December 2019, as we have passed the resolution for the inclusion of Khasi language and Garo language in the 8th schedule in 27 November 2018, the same spirit has to be there to work together, all the 60 legislators, all the stakeholders, so that we can carry on the legacy, the name and fame of our great leaders who have led us from the front. And we hope that in days to come, that the issue of boundary we can solve once and for all. Thank you so much, sir, for allowing me to take part in this very important special motion.
Haka juga poru ya kini kemotion la kersan da UMLA jong kanong krem uba Ardent basemot. Uba lawana shibun ki kot kisla ki bedei bat kirai ki bala shim da ka sarkar haka snem arjar khatway. Haka bala lumthup ya kajing thok kajing tanadu kis iman hendai. Tuwa pen i bakini ki jaka ki babuan ka mekhla kala Asia po Asam ki dei ki baha bapo ki makhasi. Haka juga poru uba Ardent ru la ong baka sarkar ka pemerintahan ni ka sarkar MDA kam dei ban kam trai baka dei maka ka bala pynbeit uput usaw na marki sarkar ki bala dep ru kita da ban shim khia ya kani ka kam.
Yeah, Ardent Basham, you can take the floor. Sir, I also rise to support the special motion moved by Charles Mangar, MLA from Mahoti, that this House do now discuss the second phase of interstate boundary settlement between Meghalaya and Assam and the need of reviewing the MOU signed between the two chief ministers. So, after the MOU was signed between the MDA government and its counterpart, we have seen that members belonging to the ruling side were in a jubilant mood and claimed that their government is the only government that has the courage and the sincerity to solve the problem. However, sir, I am privileged to be an MLA from 2008 till 2018. So I have the experience, sir, that this is not the only government that is concerned and serious in solving the border problem. In fact, I find that the government during my time was more transparent and more careful about dealing with this issue. They have been able to take everybody on board. There was an all-party meeting, and they have done a diligent work where they have documented the claim made before the government of Assam. I have with me here, sir, the presentation on issues relating to interstate boundary with Assam before the all-party meeting dated 29 July 2015. And here it includes, there was a mention that the difference over interstate boundary, since it was there since the creation of Meghalaya as a separate state. And difference over inter-district boundary even during British and Assam time. Mention also was made that long outstanding issue cause of immense hardship, economic dislocation, and breakdown of law and order in the affected areas. And in this document, it was also highlighted about the meetings of chief ministers held on the 5th of June 2010. And in this meeting, it was agreed inter alia that Meghalaya should present documents in support of its claim. Consequently, the government of Meghalaya has prepared this document and sent to the government of Assam. And before that, the then government has issued a public notice inviting documents, consultation with district council, DCs, etc., sir. Revenue Department prepared documents justification for each sector along with maps based on the supporting documents available, having regard to constitutional provision, relevant notification and maps as well as historical, ethnic and linguistic linkages. Sir, Chief Secretary of Meghalaya handed over sector-wise document justification maps to Chief Secretary Assam to joint committee meeting held, in a joint committee, held on 9/8/2011. Chief Secretary of Assam informed DO dated 2/9/2011, examining the papers received and will take some time for completing preliminary scrutiny. Thereafter, Assam asked for topo sheet, maps and lists of villages for areas claimed by Meghalaya. And these were furnished on 17/2/2012. So I would like to touch only those areas which, 6 differences which MOU has been signed between MDA government and the counterpart Assam. When it comes to Tarawari area, sir, here, according to the claim of Meghalaya, it was mentioned here that the area is 4.69 square kilometer. And mention also was made in this claim that this area was part of Rambrai's aimship, taken over by British and made into Nonglang Sirdership, sir. Order dated 22/1879 of DC transferred the Sirdership to KH, Khasi and Gentil district land revenue to be deposited in that district. Therefore, sir, according to this claim, historically it was part of Khasi state. 1876 notification corroborates this, sir. Sir, coming to Gizang forest area, this has a total area of 13.53 square kilometer. And the same claim has been made by the state government of Meghalaya. This area was part of Rambrai's aimship, order dated 20th 2nd 1879 of DC transferred citizenship to K. Khasi and Giant Hills district, asked Mausada to collect and deposit revenue in Shillong Treasury, historically on the Khasi and Giant Hills notification of 1876. Number of villages in the area fall within 29 Mauthinkut District Council constituency. Map also has been supplied on this regard. Coming to the Hahim area, sir. The total area is 3.51 square kilometer. Again, historically, this area was part of Rambrai's aimship under jurisdiction of Khasi and Giant Hills district, notification number 1430 dated 14/9/1876. Chief Commissioner asked 1877 DC Khasi and Giant Hills district to collect house tax of Nonglang Eleka. Issue of interpretation on ground of notification determined boundaries of Kamrup and United Khasi and Giant Hills, Nongriang Sea citizenship and Nonglang citizenship under constituency number 11 of District Council and later part of 29 Mauthinkut constituency. 1961 census shows it is a part of Nongpok police station, area inhabited largely by local tribals. Atiavari, Lijadubi, part of 22nd Mauthinkut Assembly constituency, as per electoral roll of 1970. And a map also is attached in this claim, sir. So, coming to Bordua. This has an area of 147.83 square kilometer. Historically, on the Khasi's aims taken over by British after Utirat Singh's revolt, census records of 1961, 1971 show many villages on the Nongpok police station of United Khasi and Giant Hills district. Number of villages fall within constituency number 17 of Khasi and Giant Hills district council as per 1951 delimitation, largely inhabited by local tribals. Map also has been attached in this regard, sir. So coming to Boklapara, it has an area of 1.57 square kilometer. Historically, part of Nong Spung's aimship, ordered by Secretary in Political Appeal 20 of 1938, confirmed this. 1961-1971 census report shows that this area under Nongpok police station, largely inhabited by local tribals, part of constituency number 17 of Khasi and Giant Hills ADC as per delimitation of 1951. Part of constituency number 18 of Khasi and Giant Hills ADC as per delimitation of 1966. And part 1 of Jirang District Council constituency as per delimitation 1972. Map also was there. Kanapara Pilankata, it has an area of 2.25 square kilometer. Historically, part of Williams aimship, letter 1871 of DC Kamrup to DC Khasi and Giant Hills boundary as a quest of expediency and Mahal rights remain with its aim of Milliam. Further confirmed by letter of Deputy Superintendent Revenue Survey dated 5/12/1871 to DC's aims right not affected. Census record of 1961 and 1971 show number of villages on the Nongpok police station of United Khasi and Giant Hills district, part of constituency number 17 Khasi and Giant JHADC as per delimitation of 1951, part of constituency number 18 of KHADC as per delimitation of 1966, part of 1 Jirang District Council constituency as per delimitation of 1972. Sir, this exercise, I can say, was done diligently. So to claim that MDA government is the only government that has done a marvelous work as far as the settlement of boundary issue, sir, I think it is not fair at all, sir. We must also give a credit to the previous government who have diligently compiled this document and placed before the Assam government. I don't know, though the present government, the MDA government, we know has constituted regional committees to go into the detail of settling the boundary in these 6 areas. Sir. But I don't know how many of you who claim, who praise your leadership, have ever seen or even read the report of the regional committees. As far as my information goes, sir, most of the recommendations of the regional committees have not been considered. And I don't know whether this is going to be a legal document or not, sir, because the government is guided by a rule. And there is a law, Government of Meghalaya, Law A Department, Cabinet Affairs Department, Rules of Executive Business of the Government of the State of Meghalaya. And if we go according to the rule, so in para 11 and 12, here it is mentioned that orders or instruments made or executed by on behalf of the government of the state of Meghalaya shall be expressed to be made or executed in the name of the governor. Orders or instruments of the government of the state shall be expressed to be made in the name of the governor and shall be signed either by the chief secretary, a principal secretary, commissioner and secretary, a secretary and an additional secretary, a joint secretary, a deputy secretary, an under secretary, or such other officer as may be authorized by the government, and such signature shall be deemed to be the proper authorization of such order or instrument. I think this instrument that is written here may also be called a kind of memorandum of understanding that the two governments have entered upon. In this memorandum of understanding, we see that it is the Chief Minister of Assam and the Chief Minister of Meghalaya who are the signatory on this MOU. So I don't know, sir, I leave to the wisdom of the government whether this MOU will stand in the court of law. Sir, and we used to hear a phrase, and that is exactly from our Honorable Deputy Chief Minister, that the government, the state government, will adopt a give and take policy. So here I've already read out, sir, the area claimed by the state government. And what happened in these 6 areas of differences? I don't see that there is, apply a give and take policy, a phrase which was popularly used by members of the Treasury bench. Sir, in Gizang area, the total area is 13.53 square kilometer, and it goes 10.63 square kilometer to Assam. And Meghalaya is being able to retain with the rest of that area, sir. Sir, Buklapara, out of 1.57 square kilometer, again 1.01 square kilometer gone to Assam. Kanapara Pilankata area with 2.29 square kilometer, 1.7 square kilometer again has gone to Assam. Southeastern portion of the boundary, Ratashera, out of 11.20 square kilometer, the Assam managed to get 4.78 square kilometer. So if we plus all the areas being given to Assam under this MOU, it comes to 18.19 square kilometers something, sir. And we are left with 18.6 square kilometer. So in this situation, where do we stand to gain? As the Honorable Chief Minister has claimed that this deal, that the state government, the Meghalaya as a state, has gained from this MOU, sir. So, sir, I feel that it was not done in a proper way, in a transparent manner. The government did not bother to take everyone on board. They left the traditional heads. They don't involve the district council, and they don't even care about the people living in the border areas. I would not mind if the people living in the border areas accept this decision taken by the government. But we know there are protests. So therefore, sir, I feel that it is a fit case for the government of the day to review and relook into this MOU. And I would also like to request to be more conscious when you start to negotiate about the second phase of settlement in the border areas. So I don't think we will be able to allow the government or anyone to take us for a ride. As public representative, we know that Meghalaya is a very small state. How can we allow the leadership of the state to hand over more than 18 square kilometers to Assam? Which is why, sir, yesterday when I participated in the debate on the governor's address, I had made a mention that anything which is done in haste will always end up in waste. So I think we are in the losing side as a state of Meghalaya. On what ground can we claim that this MOU has gained us? This MOU has managed to gain the state of Meghalaya. So therefore, sir, I strongly support the mover of this special motion, and I earnestly request the Chief Minister, the government, we will work together, but please take us also into confidence. It doesn't mean that because some government in the past have failed to address this problem, that you will have the right to decide without the people's support, without the consideration of the people, especially living in the border areas. So with these few words, sir, I resume my seat.
Umatinang ba kajalau Conrad sang maha baju bab yang ni kajinya tai. Ulu ong ba kani kesorkar MDA ke beladep. Kalau ai kublai ba kalau penpau ke jesungu ulu kesorkar ke beradu kisnam ke beladep ke berasang banyak pynbeit buat nadu kapol berkilong nanti bagi dana pak kesorkar. Mereka juga pol ong ba kadi kam ke bakhia ba ke bakalan sibun ba kam dai ke besuk ya kan kesorkar ban pynbeit ya ke jingja ke belajala bun musnam ba ke tangkap put jong ke jalam kelia ba Assam. Aku juga por Conrad sang maru ulu ong bagi dan bun ki report ki beladan hak sarkar bat ki bela phak dak sarkar Meghalaya kasam ajar khatwei ki belong ke jing ko pat ikan dak sarkar ka pementa nama ki dan kisnong ki ba omdon hak dak report ande ka lum thup ka bala aj po Assam dai ki dik kisnong ki wan dien bat ki penpau bagi ha pa po Meghalaya na kalyang jong omating ba ka jalau la karpat ya bawra ki khat ban ya trailang na kam taban wengdo ik sok ka dot ki badan ha ki tang kaput jong ka jala Meghalaya bat Assam.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, at the very outset, I would like to thank the Honourable Member from Mohati constituency, Shri Charles Marangan, for having brought this special motion. This House do now discuss the second phase of interstate boundary settlement between Meghalaya and Assam, and the need of reviewing the MOU signed between the two chief ministers. Sir, I also would like to thank the Honourable Member from Nongpo and the Honourable Member from Nongkrem for having participated in this very important
special motion that has been brought in. Sir, I have a written reply out here, which is, of course, highly technical in nature, which I will touch on. But before I do that, I would like to put things into perspective so that we all are on the same page as we move forward on this very, very important and critical issue that we are looking at. Sir, as has been rightly mentioned by many of the participants who participated today, that this is probably one of the most complex issues that our state has faced in the last 50 years. Apart from many other issues, the border to resolve and has been also politically a very sensitive issue. And hence we have seen that in the past, many governments have tried to find some way forward in trying to come to some kind of a conclusion on this particular subject. Sir, I would like to remind the House that in the previous government, when we were there, and when we had discussed about this particular very important border issue, if you were to go back to my speech, which I gave in this House, I started my speech by thanking the past governments for all the work that they had done. I spent time to explain the contributions that had been made by the past governments. And my statement is in the record of this House, where I have mentioned that all the previous governments and all the previous chief ministers, in one way or the other, have contributed towards us being able to move towards a solution in this. So it would be incorrect for the members to say that we as a MDA are claiming that we are the only ones who have done this and that we are not giving any credit to the others. So that is not true at all. Maybe in political speeches outside, individuals could speak. If you were to pick up statements from every individual, party leaders, then we will not be able to come to the conclusion. You'll have to look at the speech of the head of the government and the speech that is given by the chief minister on the floor of the House, which should be the main statement and the position of the government. And therefore, in my speech, in those sessions that we had where we discussed about this issue, I very categorically had thanked the past governments and the past chief ministers for all the work and the contribution they had done to ensure that we were able to take this issue forward. Having said that, two things I would like to mention out here in this regard. Number one, many meetings took place in the past. I don't have the exact record right now with me of the number of meetings that took place between the chief ministers and the chief secretaries in the past 50 years. It is somewhere here in this document, but it's not coming in my memory right now. But a large number of meetings took place. And a lot of efforts were made, discussions were held, different committees were formed. But we saw that in spite of the efforts, there was a very challenging political situation in front of all the governments at that point in time. And the situation was, should we even take the risk of trying to find a real solution to this or not? That question lingers or comes to every government's mind. It's natural, sir, because this subject is so sensitive. And hence, in the large number of the meetings we saw in the past, the governments would end up having the meetings, discuss very important issues, no doubt, would bring out their points, would bring out the maps, and at the end of the day, the meeting would end with a decision that we will maintain status quo. And hence, this became a norm, and many times we saw that many governments ultimately would have meetings, have discussions, but there would not be a concrete conclusion to how we would actually end up resolving the boundary or the border dispute between the two states. And it is here that we as a government have mentioned many times in the press and here in the House also, that political will to be able to take this discussion forward to a conclusion is what the MDA government did in the past 5 years. The same questions came to our mind, Mr. Chairman, sir. The same questions came to our mind. The same risks we faced. Many political leaders told us, there is no need to go into this decision making because it will have political ramifications. But it required a very, very strong political will at that point in time to tell ourselves and the cabinet and all the government with us that there may be political risk and we may actually be not able to find a perfect solution. But then, isn't that our responsibility right now, that we at least try to move this in the right direction? Haven't the people of the state living in the border areas suffered for too long? Haven't we lost too many lives because of the border tension in these areas of differences? And aren't we being given an opportunity here today to be able to do something about it? And will we not look back maybe after 15, 20 years, 30 years and say that we had an opportunity to do something, but because we were worried about the political ramifications, we did not? And these are the questions that went through our minds during those very, very critical moments, whether to actually even dare to say that we will not now talk of status quo, let us actually go ahead and find a solution. So, sir, it is not an easy task for us. One has to remember that we did it with great challenge in front of us, with a lot of uncertainty that was there, but it required that political will. And we have been saying this from day one, that the MDA government had that political will. Contributions have been made by all the past governments, and I once again would like to place it on record that I thank them for all the work that was done. I have just received the meetings. So there were 32 meetings that were held from 1971 regarding different border issues. So a lot of time was spent, a lot of homework was done, and definitely a lot of contribution was made by every individual. These are chief ministers' meetings, sir. 32 meetings of chief ministers took place, including in the past government. In fact, the past government, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 meetings out of these 32 meetings were held in the past government, and 22 were held before 2017. That means between 2071 and 2017, 22 meetings took place, and in between 2018 and 2022, 10 meetings between chief ministers took place. And in the last 30 years, from 1992 till 2019, chief secretary level meetings, 9 of them took place. So hence, yes, everybody has contributed. But while that contribution has been there, as I had mentioned, it is that political will to take things to the next level is what we have said that the MDA government did, and which is a fact, sir. That's number one. And I again place it on record that we thank all the past governments and chief ministers for their contributions in order to try and resolve the border issue between the two states. Sir, the second point which I want to mention about this first part of my reply regarding the contributions by the different governments, that the reports that were made in 2011, 2012 have definitely been, as I said, the basis of our negotiation. So I'm sure that the reports and the statements made by the honorable member on how the then government had gone through a lot of pain to prepare these reports, I'm sure they are true because we have seen the reports, a lot of homework was done, a lot of detail was put in. But I also would like to mention at this point in time that while those reports were there, which is in fact the basis of our negotiation, we are facing a large number of challenges today because of that report also. I will just give an example to make my point. That when we had gone in the West Khasi Hills sector to discuss about the public hearing that had to take place. So at that point in time, when we went to the sectors in West Khasi Hills, sir, I don't want to mislead the House, so I don't want to give the exact numbers, but just to give the point across, that in the list, approximately 21, that is in the original report of 2011, there were approximately 21, 22 villages which was there in that report. But when we went for the public hearing, people from 36 villages came, which means about 14, 15, 16 more villages came, which were not in the report. Some of them even way into the Assam border, which was not in the map which was given by Meghalaya as areas of differences. And hence, those villages which were not in the 2011 report, they also came in, and in the public hearing they said that they want to be with Meghalaya. And after the MOU, when we moved forward with things, those villages, some of those villages, were the ones who have created concerns and have expressed concerns that why they have been left out. So what I'm trying to tell you, sir, is that yes, the homework was done in 2011, but when we went for the negotiation in 2020, 21, when we started the discussions, because those villages which now want to be in Meghalaya were not in the 2011 report, it became a big difficulty for us to include. When we told Assam that, well, we should include these villages, Assam said the 2011 report does not include those villages that you're bringing in now. And hence, we cannot discuss on those villages. And they have a point. Government is government. The report was made, whether it was MDA government or any other government. The report of the government of Meghalaya is the report of government of Meghalaya. And hence, this 2011-12 report, which included about 21, 22 villages, did not have the rest of the villages which then came for demand that they also want to be included. So these are the kind of challenges we faced, and a large number of, as I said, people who later on came and were not happy with the MOU, a large number of them are villages which were actually not in the map given by Meghalaya in 2011. Let me give you a small example of one location called Malang Salbari. Now the map that was drawn in the Tarabari sector, in that sector there was a small curve drawn by Meghalaya given in the 2011 report. And in that curve, the dot that was put in there was the area that we have managed to get, the whole map we managed to get into Meghalaya. But in that map which we drew, the village of Malang Salbari has been shown in Assam. Though we are demanding it and saying that it is in Meghalaya, in the list of villages it was listed in Meghalaya, or it was part of our demand, part of those villages that we want. But in the map that we drew and gave in that same report, we showed Malang Salbari as in Assam. These kind of complexities were very difficult for us to resolve, because it was maybe a typing error or a drawing error. I don't know what, I don't know here to blame anybody. But these are facts with which we have to now work with. So Meghalaya is demanding Malang Salbari. It's put it in the villages that it should come to Meghalaya, which is fine. But in the map, same report, when we drew the map, we showed Malang Salbari village in Assam. And we did not show it in Meghalaya nor in the areas of differences. Now, how do I go to Meghalaya, to Assam and say, sorry, this is a mistake, can you just change that? It's very difficult and very complicated. Now, this is the kind of complication with which we had to work with, sir. So therefore, though the reports were made, and of course, I'm sure nothing is 100% perfect. There will always be issues, there will be problems, there may be mistakes. But what I'm saying is that these limitations have happened. Now, even when it comes to the new areas that are there, I'm sorry, not new areas, the remaining areas. In the remaining areas also, I don't want to go into much details because we are yet to start the official discussion. But just so that the House has a sense of what we are talking about. That while we put the maps in different areas for the rest of the 6 areas of differences, the names of the villages we gave fall way short of the villages that we are now demanding. So in certain areas, in the list that we have submitted in 2011 report, without naming the area, without naming the villages, for example, we had put in sector A, we had put demand for 12 villages. Now we are getting reports from the people, they're saying, no, they are not 12, they are 36 villages. Now, where do we stand as a government when we have to now go and discuss with Assam, saying that now we increase it from 12 to 36. Now, I'm not saying that we can't do it. Well, we will negotiate, we will discuss, but I'm saying that the point that we are starting off, we're already starting off at a very difficult point. So we will still work, we will still fight for it, but these are the kind of challenges that we are working with. That now the 2011-12 report is the basis on which we are negotiating, but the list out there misses out many villages which people are now saying that we also want to be in Meghalaya. So these kind of challenges with which we are working. So yes, the past governments have done their work, but it has also created a bit of complication for us now and kind of made our discussions and negotiations a bit harder than what it would have been if the slate was clean, or maybe if all the villages were included, which the people are demanding. So these kind of instances happen, these kind of challenges happen. But as I said, it's a complex problem. And sir, I want to repeat myself, I'm not here to blame anybody. Blaming does not help at all. It is not healthy also, and as mentioned by the honorable member from Nongpo, this is a problem where we need to work together. So blaming will not help at all. But I need to put the facts on the table so that the members understand that we are starting from this point. It's not with the point to justify anything, neither is it my desire to blame any past government for it, but I have to mention the facts because this is really what the problem is. And hence we are facing numerous challenges, as I said, because the reports that were created, which is a lot of work went in, but the factual at the grassroots level is slightly different from the reports, and that has created a very complex situation for us. Does that mean that we are not going to fight for it? Absolutely not. We will fight, but as I said, we are in a situation which has made things slightly more complicated than it could have been if we had put in all the details, sir. So coming to the discussion on the MOU that was signed and why we decided on how we to move forward in. So sir, in the first instance, when we decided to go ahead with 6 areas, again a lot of people questioned, why are we going for 6 areas? Why not 7? Why not 10? Why these 6? Why not the other 6? Sir, it could have been any way. We could have gone for 7 also, we could have gone for 8 also, we could have gone for different areas also, but we had to make a decision. So therefore, again, I always mention this in all my speeches because I've seen that it is always one of the most difficult parts as a leader and as the head of the government. It's the decision making which is what is expected of you. And hence, we have to look at all the aspects, plus, minus, past, future, present, look at all the stakeholders, look at all the facts that could impact this decision, and then decide on what would be the best course of action. It will not be the perfect one, but how do we minimize the risk? How do we minimize the fallouts? How do we minimize the different damages? But yet be able to move forward in a positive way so that we can at least start the process rolling. And that's why after a lot of detailed thinking and consultation and discussion with our stakeholders as well as with the other side, the Assam government, we had, as I said, you've seen, sir, this official meetings that I've mentioned and I mentioned in my speech, that we had 10 meetings officially in the last 5 years. So the last 40 years, or rather last 45 years, saw 22 meetings of chief ministers from both sides. But in the last 5 years, we had 10 meetings in the last 5 years alone. And these are official meetings, sir. I'm not counting the unofficial meetings that the Honorable Chief Minister of Assam and myself had multiple times to discuss this issue. And if I were to add all of that, maybe we would have close to about 30, 40 meetings we would have had, and hundreds of phone calls and conversations on the telephone. So that is the kind of effort that went into all of this. And ultimately we decided that let us start off with relatively simpler and smaller areas. None of the areas are simple, all are complicated, all are sensitive, but we need to start somewhere. And hence we decided that let us go with the smaller ones and the ones that looked to be slightly easier to work towards. And hence the process of 6 areas of differences and the discussion started, sir. Sir, once we did that, we realized that sitting in Shillong is not the way to find a solution to this. This is something that requires us to understand the problem at the grassroots level. And we also realized the second part is that this is not a decision that we can take by sticking to our positions. This is not a decision that we can take by sticking to our maps and reports. And hence we decided that it may be important for us that we need to think in a different way and bring in different factors to be able to help us resolve this issue. If we stick to our positions, then these talks will go on for another 100 years and we will not reach a conclusion. And hence, can we look at the positions in a different manner? Can we bring in other factors that would help us resolve it? And could we go to the grassroots level to really find out what the problem is and what the people want to be able to take this forward? And that thought process then finally led us to coming to the point that we must go to the people. Because ultimately it is about the people. It is about what the people want. And therefore, if we were to stick with our maps, well, I can show 2 maps, and then Assam would come out with 10 maps. Assam would come out with 1 report, and I would come out with 10 reports. So if this was the way forward, we realized that we may not be able to come to a conclusion. So while the maps and the reports and the past records are important, historical facts are important, we needed to also broaden our approach to the entire process. And hence, the different aspects we realize, most importantly, that the people's will is very crucial. And we unofficially discussed this with my Assam counterpart, where we discussed, we said that even if today Assam or Meghalaya says that this village is going to be in Meghalaya, and if the people of that village do not want to be in Assam or in Meghalaya, can we force them? Can we tell them, no, you have to be in Meghalaya or you have to be in Assam? Even to that level, the Honorable Chief Minister of Assam and myself discussed that we need to realize that while we are here as two governments, we are not two different countries. We are very much part of India. And yes, within this, our Indian, the boundary of India, we have concerns and we have differences. How can we amicably find a solution and resolve this issue while realizing that the people of the border areas have suffered for too long, and this kind of an issue cannot go on forever? And therefore, sir, the sequence of discussions and processes started. And that's when we said, let us look at people's will. Let us look at ethnicity. Let us look at governance. Let us look at administrative convenience. Let us look at contiguity. Let us look at historical facts. And that's when we started looking at the entire problem in a much more broader scale. And we realized that we need to see all of these factors. We realized that if there's a village which has a Khasi population, and then after that we find that there's another village that has got Nepali population after that, and then there's another Khasi population, and Nepali or Assamese, and then there's another Khasi village. Now, how do we get the people's will, and how do we connect that village to the rest of the map? The contiguity is important. So all these factors were considered, and we looked at how we can move forward, because our desire was to see that we should find a solution to this. May not be, I repeat this, it's very critical to remember this point, and I keep saying it. You must have heard me say it a million times in many situations, that we will never ever be able to find a perfect solution. It is not possible in a complex situation like this. But we need to find the best possible solution. And we need to go with that mindset, with that approach. Doesn't mean that we start compromising on our stand, doesn't mean that we start compromising on our demands, but it just means that we need to see the picture in a much broader scale and realize that in the larger interest of things, we need to find a solution. That is very crucial. And while we stick to our points, while we stick to our discussions, we will need to also understand that there is an overarching problem of two different states, of multiple communities in each of the states, and this issue being sensitive in nature. And hence, all of these factors needs to be kept in mind while we take forward this discussion, sir. And hence, we chose the 6 locations. We had multiple rounds of meetings at different levels, sir. And the detail case, I don't have the exact report of the number of meetings that were there, that took place of the different regional committees. The regional committees did extensive exercise, sir. I must tell you that. And I must thank the regional committee members. Imagine, sir, these are villages, some of them which are not accessible easily by vehicle. They have to be traveled, some areas have to be traveled by 4-5 hours of road, travel by vehicle. And some areas you have to even walk for a few hours to get there to those villages. And so the committees, they went to ground zero. They went and met the people. We had a process which we call a referendum, sir. So even though we don't call it referendum in the process, but that is precisely what we did. We called the villagers and we asked the villagers right there and then in front of Assam and Meghalaya regional committees, which state or which region, which area would you like to be in, which state would you like to be in? And we got the referendum of the people living in that area. In some areas, they unitedly put up their hand and they said, we want to be in Meghalaya. And Assam government, people were sitting there watching and listened to it. When we met at the Chief Minister's level, the Chief Minister of Assam asked, what did the people say? And the answer of the regional committee chairman was, the people said, we want to be in Meghalaya. So this kind of exercise was never conducted in the past. And it is this government in the MDA 1 that we did it. Now, I'm not claiming that we are the only ones who did it, or only ones who have actually contributed to making this possible. But the fact that we went to every village, had a referendum, had a people's voice heard, and we had all the the vote, not voting, but literally kind of a hand shown and saying that where would you like to be. These are things that were done by this government, and we cannot deny that, sir. And these are things which were not done. And therefore, after we went and we asked the people where you would like to be, reports were made. As I said, multiple times the regional committees have gone, multiple times they have had meetings, multiple times they have met all stakeholders, sir. And hence, it would be incorrect to say that we did not have consultations. In fact, just to give an example, sir, on the 15th of December, there was a consultation with the Khasi Hills Autonomous District Council and the Jainti Hills District Council, and the traditional heads was done on the 15th of December. On the same day, we also called different civil society and NGOs to come and have a discussion with us. We called all the political parties in that day separately, all were done separately, sir. But we called all of them and we had consultation on these issues, and we received different memorandums and documents from them. Again, on the 23rd of February, while we tried to find a solution, an amicable solution to this problem. So I would appeal, I know that I don't need to go into details of all of this right now, but since members are present out here, I think it's important that I put this into the mindset of all our members right now and the public at large, that the approach has to be very thought of very well. And yes, I appreciate the suggestions made by all of the members. They're absolutely right. We don't need to rush, sir. And I can assure you, we're not here to rush at all. We're not here to solve the problem just because we have to solve it. Obviously, sir, we're not going to compromise on certain stands that we have. But as I said, that we need to not also leave it very, very, have a very soft approach or slow approach to the whole thing. We need to ensure that we are consistent in our approach, we move forward in a positive manner, and we go with a mindset to find a solution, keeping the larger interests of the people and the state at mind. And therefore, we will do deep consultation. I assure the House, I assure the members that we will coordinate with all the stakeholders. Some of the members, in fact, the mover of the member had mentioned that the local MLAs and MDCs should be part of the committee. I'm sure that he is satisfied that he is very much part of this committee. And it's not that I'm saying it now because he said it. This notification came out a week back. So you're already part of the committee, but the notification had not reached you. But, or not week back, sorry. The notification came out 3 days back, but the decision was made about a week back. The notification came out about 3 days back. So this was already done before you even mentioned this in the House. You're already part of the committee, and so are the other local MDCs also. And we have not left out the district councils, as we had earlier mentioned. And the committee, sir, can at any time call other members, call other stakeholders, and have consultation with them. This is not limited only to this particular committee, but this will be the core regional committee that we have set up, sir. So the terms of reference of this committee are also there, which I don't feel I need to go through it, all of it. Once the notification reaches the honorable members, I'm sure they will be able to go through it. And yes, and apart from that, so there are, of course, as I said, many issues that are there, which I could have discussed. There is a long reply which I have been given, which I am refraining from going into because it's more technical in nature. And since this is a highly sensitive and a politically and socially important issue, I chose to speak direct about the points and how we have approached this entire issue, and as has been committed to the people of the state. I especially want to send this message across to the people living in the border areas, that while we work towards finding the solutions, there could be different challenges. But let me assure them that as a government, we are going to ensure that sufficient manpower is there, sufficient infrastructure in terms of our forces are there in these different areas of differences, so that the confidence level and the safety level of our people is maintained. I want to assure each and every one, especially the people living in the border area, And number two, I also want to share with you that we are in constant touch with our counterparts. I am in constant touch with Assam Chief Minister. Let me tell you that whenever an incident happens out there, there is no protocol that goes between Assam Chief Minister and me. I immediately call him up directly, even maybe before the Chief Secretaries are able to talk, or even before the DCs are able to talk, the two Chief Ministers talk and ensure that necessary instructions are given to ensure that situations don't escalate and situations are resolved. So we are in constant touch. This is a very important issue for us. We understand the pain and the suffering that you have faced in the last 50 years. And this whole house is committed to ensure that we are able to find a solution so that the people in these areas can live in peace in the coming years, sir. And it is with this mindset that we are approaching this problem. And I assure the House that we are determined to make sure that we find an amicable solution to this border issue. So with these few words, sir, I once again thank the honorable member for bringing out this very, very important issue and giving me an opportunity to clarify on a large number of issues. And with these few words and clarifications, sir, I would like to resume my seat. Thank you very much, sir.
Now the discussion and